I'm going to ask to have roll call.
Here, sir.
Justin?
Here.
Clint?
Here.
Okay, everybody's here, and I'm here. So everybody's here, so we'll move straight into it. I'll ask Commissioner Willis to lead us in an invocation and a pledge.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon our community, Lord, and we thank you for our citizens, our city staff, Lord, and we ask that you continue to bless them and bless this great city, Lord, and may you watch over us as we make decisions that will be honoring to you today. In your name I pray, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, we'll move straight into the agenda. I'm going to move to item number 2. We're going to move one of the items on the agenda, the check signing agenda, item number 20. We'll move it down till after executive session is what I'm going to do. So I don't know that we need to have approval on that or not.
It would,
Okay.
the commission would make a motion to approve as amended, approve the agenda as amended.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second. And we have a second to move the item number 20 to the end. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. We'll move into approving the minutes of the regular city commission minutes of May 6th and the special city commission minutes of May 13th. Do we have any discussion over those minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve them. We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 sets of minutes. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Same sign for opposing. Motion carries. We'll move into item number 4. This is a new agenda for me, so I'm having to work through this new agenda. But do we have any citizens that would like to bring anything before the commission that's not on the agenda? You may do that at this time. Again, I don't see anybody jumping up and running to the podium, so we'll move on into the consent agenda, item number 6, which item A is consider approval of paying the bills. Do we have any discussion over paying the bills?
I had a few questions, if I
Okay.
could. Pat, I think I'll skip down to the filter change at the swimming pool. Okay. That Tom?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right. That is page 9, page 9. Can you tell us, Tom, a little bit about that?
Yes,
So we
sir.
changed.
That was agreed from the this last year's for this fiscal year's budget. It's kind of on about an 8-year rotation, so the media breaks down. It's not as effective, and then we start backwashing a bunch of sand out of it. So it was.
So it's a silica sand.
Yes, it is.
Is it a large volume
Yes.
filter?
Yeah, we have 3 separate filters.
How many pounds in each filter, or do you know?
If I had that paperwork with me, it was on the RFP, on the surface area and everything like that was bid out.
And do we change all 3 of them at one time, or
Yes.
do we alternate?
They're all, when they're installed, all the media is the same age, so it comes around on that
Every third
usage.
year or fourth?
About
or
8.
eighth?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything special about that, or is it just clean silica sand?
It's meant for use in pool filters.
Okay. Is there disposal cost associated with that?
No, no.
So do we take that to landfill?
No, we actually use it to fill out uneven areas in the parks.
Okay, and do we do that work, or do we?
Yes, yeah, we do that in-house.
So that budgeted amount was just for the sand?
The cost of the sand, and then to have the contractors came in and changed it out. They removed it from the filters and moved it right outside the fence, and then installed the new.
All right, so they do the removal then?
Yeah, out of the filters, yes, but not like disposal of the old media.
Okay. Do we do a vessel inspection when it's empty? Do we get
Yes,
somebody?
the contractors do.
Okay,
Yeah,
they issue a report on those vessel inspections?
they did not, no.
Okay, probably be good if we could get a vessel inspection and keep track of,
Okay,
and do they do thickness checks? You know, if we could get the report, we can kind of monitor the condition of those vessels. And
okay.
Are those registered pressure vessels? You know how much pressure they run, over 15 pounds?
I do not know if they're registered.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have that answer for you right now.
Might be worth our time to request a formal report from the contract company on the
Okay.
inspection, if we could.
Okay, I'll look into it.
All right, and then we bought Pulsar briquettes, which I think are just chlorine
Yes,
tablets.
yes.
All right. How much should we purchase? I see what we spent.
Yeah, so that was for 30 pails of it. That should get us through the season, all the way through the season. And the use amounts, it just kind of depends on what the weather's doing, how many people we have at the pool and everything like that. They're kind of, those briquettes are very specific to the feeding system that we have. So, and sometimes they're very hard to come by as far as availability. So that's why we buy them in bulk at the beginning of the season.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, we had a line item, is this a Cedro maybe?
Right here.
Let's see. Yes. We had a line item for quite a bit of expense on repair of number 5 water well.
Number 5 water well.
Yeah, did I see that in there correctly?
Yeah.
Water well expenses, it's like $45,000.
Oh, yes. Well, not so while ago, we have this water well, fix it. The motor and everything was down. This water well is pretty deep, and it's a special motor, Hitachi. Actually, even the connections, they're hard. It's some thick wires. We thought in changes for a regular water well, but once, it's very deep and very complicated water well. Water pump, we decided to be with the same one. But yeah, we thought, just put a ship one, but put them that way.
Okay. So this is a pump replacement?
Yes, we replaced this water, this pump and motor, I think, a year and a half ago. And we was dealing with other water well, we still want to see if he still got warranty on it.
Okay.
But they're gonna refund the money, return the money if we have the warranty on it. But yes, I should say why that's expensive. He explained me everything, and it's a big motor,
Okay.
big pump.
So this is a surface mount motor?
No, it's submersible, sir.
Submersible motor and pump,
Yes, sir.
and it's Hitachi?
Yes,
And it lasted a
Hitachi.
year and a half? Okay.
They've been working pretty good, those water wells. Right now, you can see all the water wells almost 24 hours a
Okay.
day. So, yes, sir, but it is expensive. Hopefully, it takes a while to let us know if we're gonna get warranty for that or not.
Okay.
Depending on what's happening, apparently they know, so,
Okay.
all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
That's all I had, Mayor.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? I'd entertain a motion to approve the paying of the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the paying of the bills. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move into formal session. Item number 8, consider approval of apartment master meter utility rate reconsideration. So, Have we come up with any proposals or anything? Would you like to say anything?
No, I'm just here to see where we're at on this deal to make sure it keeps moving to.
Okay. Mark, have we?
I was just gonna say, we, looked at and what other cities and then, rates and commercial and that. It is one of those that as we go along in our water system is, I think there is a need that we should, verify certain things as far as our rates. It goes through a process, and I'm not saying they're wrong, or right. It is just sitting there, we're always glad to review. And, if that's the question, and that you have, is, we can review, what information, what we do, and what we're comparing. And I think that is an obligation we have to the public if there is a question. So I'll start doing that. And, and can get to the commission and sit there and go, has anything changed? As far as, rates, where the information we obtained. And, to see if those rates, but then also if there's anything, and I think legal, the master meter, that is consistent with what the city commission has done. And I think that's what was addressed, for the last couple meetings. The information we gathered from the cities and then the definition, how they're used, that is consistent with the other cities, how they determine the master meter.
I think the last what we left the last meeting as, we had that similar information was, since we upped it all of a sudden, are we gonna grandfather in the current master meters and move forward with new development would be considered, if you're a master meter, you're commercial, otherwise you're individual to a set of apartments. So we just have to decide whether we're grandfathering or not.
Well, Slater actually advised the staff to review zoning implementations from then to now, in order to, I guess, get more information on how these areas are zoned.
Whether they're commercial or residential
or residential.
And have we done that or not?
Not to my knowledge, I don't think
And Javier is, there's been a family emergency, and he would be here. But he was called away this morning, so.
So,
Brian, can we legally grandfather?
No, no, you've already, you already changed the rule, when you adopted the new rate, that was, you could go back, you'd have to change the whole structure, yeah. Again, the other aspect, and we talked a little bit about this, but you raised properly, right, and the legal question as far as this is how it's done, it's a legal way to do it, so that's not the legal question. I think the practical question that you have is you raised it for, and this is not only impacting him, it's impacting, I think you had, I don't remember how many others, so if you change what you're charging them, you also have to look at the financial impact of the lost revenue that you would have from the other, because you've got to treat all of these the same. But if there's some outstanding question on the zoning stuff, that was after, so maybe Javier can help us with that.
so we'd really have to change the ordinance completely again, if we wanted to grandfather or look at zoning or anything like that.
Yep.
After identifying the new zones, we'd have to do it again.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, it would take further action, but if it's just, yeah, if you tell us that's what you want us to do, we'll do it. But,
Yeah, like I said, I apologize. He would be in attendance here to answer questions, but it was a family emergency. He was called.
I don't know if you have the financial numbers to evaluate, again, the impact on the city's revenue, what the new rate with these same similarly situated master meters. I don't know that we have that information either. That's another piece of the puzzle.
received that.
Before you say,
But
that we want to change.
they need to see it.
Next meeting, I
That way
think I
y'all
would
can
like
make-
to see a proposed new ordinance
That's gonna affect
with the zoning, multifamily or whatever, grandfather and them in, and then like Justin said, any commercial or new multifamily developments, going the commercial route. But I think it's only fair to the ones that's been here for years to, with us raising it unexpectedly.
So all of the ones that were, so all that additional revenue that you've been having, you're gonna cut that out?
Well, and that's something else. I mean, I think we need to see them numbers.
Yeah, we need to see those numbers.
But
Yeah,
we need
I
to
agree.
put this to bed instead of just kicking the can down the road,
They need to see it.
So if we can get everything and then make a decision.
Yeah, I think, and that it's a good solution. I think first is, are we doing something that is different from other cities? And that came back, no, we're doing what other cities do, but it is, every city has a different situation.
I mean, that's just me personally. That's what
Yeah.
I would like to see.
No, I think it's only fair to.
And in
make it
that,
part of the
include
process.
the financial status that Shannon sent a couple of weeks ago in that packet.
Add it into whatever we find for next meeting, we can do that.
And also the zoning, if that's possible. If we can
Ask Javier.
research all the zoning and commercial and non-commercial. Get all that information in the packet, and I apologize that we haven't moved forward on this, but next meeting, we should be able to have the information we need to make a decision.
Okay. Yeah, I agree, that's what we need to do for. Okay, thank y'all, appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Ronnie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we'll take no action on that item. Item number 9 would be consider approval of management benefits presentation. So, Brandy?
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandy Bigham. I know most of you guys, but some of y'all I haven't met, so it's nice to meet you guys. I am actually your health benefits broker. So essentially, we handle putting together all of your health benefits for the employees for the city. I wanted to go over a product today really quickly with you guys. As an option to supplement your current health plan. Monica and Shannon and I, we've spent the last couple of months going through this in great detail. So today I'd really like to kind of just hit the high points. I know that you guys have a packed agenda today anyways. So, but any more detail that I need to go into individually or in addition to today, please just let me know. I'm extremely happy to do that. So in kind of the blue packet that I think all of you guys got, that we'll kind of take a look at that first sheet initially. So this product is kind of twofold. So there's a health and wellness benefit side to it, and then there's actually a tax savings portion that is built into the plan as well. And so kind of extrapolating the numbers that we did with your current employees, the potential savings for the city right now in those matching taxes is about almost $61,000 annually. And that's really the benefit to the city here. And we'll kind of go into the details of how that works here in just a minute. But I thought we could hit the high points of kind of the health and wellness side of it first. That's where your employees are really going to see the benefit. This is going to ride along with your current plan. This isn't going to replace anything that you currently have. These are just going to be additional benefits to each and every employee. So there's a $0 copay telemedicine, which you have Aflac telemedicine in place right now, which is wonderful, and I certainly don't want to take that out. I think it works well for a lot of folks. But this is a $0 copay telemedicine, whereas Aflac, there is a small charge when you utilize it. So again, this would just be another option for the employees to have. There's a mental health component to this telemedicine as well that Aflac does not have. And I know, I talk to all of your employees every year, every single one of them, and then just employees all over the Panhandle. I truly feel like personally and professionally that the mental health availability, the services for that is completely lacking here in the Panhandle. It's not, this city, it's not any of the other cities, it's not Amarillo even, but there's just not enough providers. Even in Amarillo, you're looking at a 6 to 8 week wait to get in just to see an LPC. A psychiatrist, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I think in Amarillo there might be like 3 actual psychiatrists. So if you are needing some care at that level, it's just going to be really difficult to find. So that is built into this plan, and that's really on the telemedicine side what's going to make it extremely different from anything else that we've ever put in place before, is to be able to have access to that when you need it immediately. Again, there's no copay for that, and it kind of steps down. So there's psychiatry available all the way down to an LPC. So psychiatrists can obviously prescribe meds. They can go ahead and, kind of do the chronic management with those medications, make sure that you're staying where you need to be, XYZ. So you can start there and kind of stair step down, or you can start with an LPC. It's really completely up to the employee, but just to be able to have those things available to them, I feel like would really fill a gap that I personally see just across the whole Panhandle. Again, it's not just here. I just think it's kind of a gap that any way that we can fill, we would love to be able to do that. So there, again, chronic condition management, you'll kind of see on that sheet. So whereas your Aflac telehealth is somewhat more of kind of an emergent situation, you have pink eye, or you're not feeling well and you need an antibiotic, things like that, your employees can actually utilize this telehealth service for really their PCP care if they wanted to. They'll see the same person every time. You're not going to get a different physician every time you call, so you can actually, manage whatever you have going on through this program if you choose to do that. So again, just a much more in-depth telehealth product than what you currently have in place. 37 prescriptions at a $0 copay. So those are going to be kind of your standard run-of-the-mill, your blood pressure medications, your antibiotics, things like that. $0 copay is great for your employees. Obviously, they're going to look at that as a benefit so that they can get those things filled without having to run it through the plan. But there's also a ton of other medications that are a $5 copay. So again, that's a benefit to them. And you guys are on a self-funded plan currently, and so anything that we can not run through that plan is going to ultimately affect your claim dollars at the end of the year. So if we can get employees to utilize this plan for their telehealth, if that's what they feel like they need, medications, managing chronic issues, it's just going to affect your bottom line in a positive way when we come to renewal every year. There's also a hospital indemnity plan. So again, somewhat similar to your Aflac, an indemnity plan is going to pay dollars to your employee if they were to utilize those services. So if they were hospitalized, an ER visit, XYZ, whatever the case may be when they go into a hospital, they're actually just going to receive a check in the mail for that, just like they would with their Aflac plan. But again, this does not negate any plan that they currently have in place. So their Aflac plans are safe. I'm a huge proponent of Aflac. I certainly would not want to take that out in any way, shape, or form. So again, it's just additional benefits for each employee, and these are actually available to everyone in the household. So whereas sometimes we get these products in and it's just an employee only or employee spouse, this is available to everybody. If you have a mother-in-law living with you, if you have a niece that you're taking care of, whatever the case may be, all of these benefits are available to everybody in the household. So again, I want to just kind of emphasize very high level overview today. I want to be very conscientious of your time. There are a lot of health and wellness benefits built into this plan. I personally am on this plan. My company adopted it 3 or 4 years ago. I think we implemented it, and so I can personally speak to this plan and how well it works for me and my family. As we kind of look at that, though, I want you to keep in mind that this isn't going to cost the city anything to implement this product. In fact, it's just going to provide savings for your employees, for the city, and some additional, again, health and wellness benefits. And when we're kind of looking at the type of health plan that you have, being a self-funded plan, the healthier we can keep your employees, the better. It truly does affect your bottom line when we're looking at renewals at the end of the year. So anything that we can do to lower those claim dollars is always a good thing. You guys that have sat through the renewal process, many years, those claims can be, kind of a sore spot. So we want to do everything we can to keep everybody healthy and well, and that's what, this program can help do. So does anybody have any questions really quick over just kind of the health and wellness side of it before we jump into kind of how the tax savings works for the employee and for you guys as a city?
So this is just an additional health packet for the employee pays for, or is it just?
So there's not going to be any cost to the employee or the city. It'll just work alongside with what you currently have in place. Again, it won't take away from anything that you currently have. It's just going to be additional benefits for those employees. Yep.
But there's no cost to the employee or the city?
No, because the tax savings covers the cost. So essentially what comes out before you see the savings is the administration fee to the TPA that administers the product. And we can get right into that really quickly if you want to. Okay, perfect. All right, so that kind of second sheet, and I apologize, I did not I think I made enough copies for you guys, but I don't know if I made enough copies for myself. So again, want to keep it really surface, kind of high level overview, but I do want to jump into kind of how the tax side of it works. But just please keep in mind that if there is additional questions, that's what I'm here for. So please let me know. But essentially what happens here, if you kind of look at this sheet that kind of has these different color sections, when you kind of look at that first blue section, you're going to see that essentially that's what an employee's paycheck would look like right now, correct? So you've got their gross income. There's a pre-tax premium with this product. So you'll see in that first one, no pre-tax premium. You'll see their gross taxable income, their FICA contributions, XYZ. I mean, that's generally what somebody's paycheck looks like with all the contributions, all their pre-tax contributions coming out. So kind of in that middle darker blue column is what it looks like with the program. So you're going to see a pre-tax premium. And again, this is just an example. I do have this example on every single one of your employees. That's the report that we have run. So Monica and Shannon and I can tell you every single employee for the city of Dumas right now what their paycheck's going to look like after this program's implemented. So again, we can go into as much detail as you need or want. This is just an example. So again, the pre-tax premium is going to come out of their gross income, correct? And then in turn, obviously that is going to lower their taxable income. So their contribution is less. So they're contributing less because their taxable income was lowered. And then once they contribute their taxes, their monthly FICA contributions, again, this is a monthly example here, then obviously the city, their contribution is less as well. So the same mechanism that operates on the employee side is on the employer or the city side as well. And so you'll see there that basically a claim payment comes back in post-tax. So we're operating pre-tax with the premium that comes out of their gross taxable income, and then we have a post-tax premium that's paid back into the account. So this all happens simultaneously on an employee's payroll. They're never going to see, unless they really look at their, all their deductions every payroll, then they'll see this transaction happen. But again, it happens on payroll. Monica's report's submitted to Encompassing Health. They make the calculations. The report comes back 20 minutes later and it's done. So these contributions are done on everybody's payroll, every single payroll. And so essentially what happens is when their taxable income's lowered, then they take home more pay. And that's just the mechanism that happens. So it works the exact same way on the city side, because again, if the employee is contributing less in taxes, then the city as a whole that matches those taxes matches less. And so you can kind of see the difference on the employer side of that in the columns. If you look at the last page, that's actually one of the pages of the report that Monica and Shannon and I took a couple of months to kind of get it all together as far as, because it is specific to your employees. We, like I said, we have every single employee that we can tell you. This is an example of a current employee that you have that you'll see in kind of the green and the blue. Essentially, the difference for this employee is $66 per paycheck. So $144.75 is what this specific employee will see extra on their paycheck every month with this program. And at the top, you'll see the potential annual savings for the city, which is just shy of $61,000. And again, this is run off of the numbers we have currently. If an employee's payroll was to change, if how they're filing their taxes with dependents and whatnot changes, of course that number can change moderately, but it really shouldn't change much. And then kind of over on the top right, next to that 60,000, potential annual savings, and I apologize, it is the smallest print ever. So, goodness, I probably should have brought my glasses. But you'll see over on that side, you'll see the pre-tax premium, and then you see the company gross savings. So when it says company, that's the city's gross savings. And this is per payroll. So again, you'll see that admin fee. So when you asked, what's this going to cost, how's this, not cost the city anything? That admin fee is what essentially goes back to the TPA to pay for administering this program. And then you'll see underneath that the net savings, once that admin fee is paid every payroll, is still $2,300 for the city. And that's realized every single payroll. So right now, what you're matching in those FICA taxes, once the program is implemented, will be $2,300 less per payroll that you're, as a city, matching for the employees. I know that's a lot.
And this would come on board when we renew everything?
So we actually discuss, it can, it absolutely can.
If we choose to.
Yes, we did discuss actually going ahead with implementation only because it's about a 60-day process, and the sooner it gets implemented, the sooner the city's saving and the sooner the employees are seeing extra dollars on their paychecks and that they have access to those benefits. So it's completely up to you guys if you want to, if you decide to move forward, when you want to implement. Like I said, it's about a 60-day process, and the main reason for that is because each individual employee is contacted individually. So whereas we do, open enrollment meetings as a group, and we have to pull everybody from their current positions and they have to take time off, we don't want to do that, and that's really just not how this program operates anyways, because every employee, this affects their pay. They're going to see an increase in their pay, but they need to know why they're seeing the increase. And so that needs to be explained to each individual employee. So the enrollment process is totally individual. And that's really why it's a little bit longer, because each individual employee is reached out to via text, email, or phone, whichever they prefer, and walked through the program, walked through the benefits, walked through how their paycheck's going to look, and then given the opportunity to enroll. It's completely voluntary to them too. They don't have to enroll in it, certainly. They can choose. And so it does take a little bit more time. Whereas we do open enrollment meetings as a group and knock it out in 2 days, and we're out of here.
Explain all the
Yes.
benefits to them when you.
Yes, I don't personally, I'll be honest, but Encompassing Health is who administers this program, and that you will have your own team that when your employees call, have a 1-800 number, they'll call, it'll just be for you guys. Now, I will say the operation of the program is done through an app on your phone. I actually have it on my phone. I can show it to you. It's so simple. If you can send a text message, that's how this app operates. I've used it so many times. I can't tell you. My son had a football game in Oklahoma City, and we needed eczema medicine because it was going to be 9,000 degrees in Oklahoma City. Didn't have any. Dermatologist said, well, you have to come back in. And I'm like, we have to go. So I just got on my app and said, hey, is there any way that you can just fill a small, we just need it to go out of town. 5 minutes later, it was called in. I live in Canyon. It was at my pharmacy, and it was $5. You don't even know how much you'll use it until you get in and use it, And so, again, there will be some employee education that we'll do just so that ideally people are utilizing the program. The claim payment that comes back in, a lot of people have questions. How is that, what generates the claim payment, right? So what's the mechanism that brings that claim payment back into their paycheck? So there's monthly employee health education, and the trigger mechanism there is that it's sent. So if they don't utilize the program that month, they still get the claim payment. It's just automatic. And Encompassing Health, the TPA that does this product, that's the way they set it up so that there's never any question that the claim payment's going to come back in. There's never any concern. If they didn't utilize the plan or product that month, it's okay. It's just a non-issue.
Brandy?
Yes.
This is probably a Monica question.
Okay, yeah.
The city retirement plan,
Yes.
is it based on the last 5 years calculation, last 5 years salary calculation? What's it based on?
Well, after 5 years,
Is
you're,
that a yes or no? Let's say I'm 64 and I'm gonna retire next year. Is my retirement for the city based on my last 5 years' salary?
it's based off of what you're in, plus the 2 to 1 that we contribute.
Okay.
So-
So this here's my.
Yeah, I think I know exactly where you're going. We've had this question before, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I know
so
where you're
we are
going.
reducing their net pay.
Yes, not their
Not their
gross,
gross,
but their
their net.
net. Yes. So essentially, there are going to be people, and again, this will be discussed with each individual because everybody's different. Some aren't retiring in 2 years, some are 22 years old, some have families. So if you are retiring, I would say in the next maybe year or two, you might not want to opt into the program. And so that will be discussed. If you are, for whatever reason, you need to show a higher taxable income for something, again, your gross isn't going to be affected. So if you're looking to buy a home or something like that, if they're looking at gross income, there's no concern there. I mean, obviously, you have multiple things that come out pre-tax. So you've got your health care, you've got your dental, your vision, your retirement, all these things that come out pre-tax. So again, yes, there are people that potentially may not want to opt in this year, but may want to next year. Or again, if you're retiring in a year or two, then this may not be a program that you want to take advantage of. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
and that is discussed.
That is part of the overall picture.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
The last
Yes.
thing, and Clayton really leaned over to me on this one.
Sure.
So your net contribution to Social Security also goes down.
Yes. Yeah. Again, just like you would when you pre-tax anything.
Right.
Yep.
But that's fairly significant over time if you're young and you've.
It could be.
reduced it.
Yes, it could be. So, and again, when they show you your paycheck and what your deductions look like and how that operates for you, and that's why the enrollment process is a little bit longer because they want to have those conversations with each individual employee and what that looks like for them. There certainly are tax benefits too. So, again, it's really what you feel like is going to be the best thing for you and your family. And we, again, that's why it's completely voluntary. Some individuals want to opt in, some don't. And those are questions that definitely, when you sit down with a person doing the enrollment, yeah, you want to talk through, what does this look like for me? I know we've had a lot of people ask, with your taxes at the end of the year, how is this? I'll be honest, for me personally, it's been a positive. When I first got onto this program, it was the first time in about a decade that I didn't have to pay when I did my taxes. It was great. Again, there's a tax hotline that's associated with Encompassing Health that everyone will have access to as well if they have questions after the enrollment process. And so, yes, absolutely. They have access to any type of questions that they have, that it's free to them. They can call anytime that they want and get those questions answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the employee savings will not change based on how many people enroll?
Correct.
But
Yeah.
City savings will,
Correct.
and then the admin fee will adjust up and down as well.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yep. That's exactly right. So obviously the more that enroll, the city saves, but the employee themselves, yeah, it's completely based on their own individual, numbers and dependents and all their other pre-tax deductions and all of that. So yes, theirs doesn't change regardless of how many enroll. But what the city saves obviously does adjust according to how many are enrolled.
And there's never a cost to the city.
That $40 per employee per month just comes out of the savings. So you'll see the $4,000 savings per payroll is the gross, and then once that $40 per person per month comes out, then the savings are the $2,300. So there essentially, I guess, is a cost, but it comes out of your savings. Yeah, the city's not actually paying.
Cost.
Yeah. So every time payrolls run, the city sees $2,300. They're matching $2,300 less than they were the payroll before.
So ultimately, it's just like me and him were saying, there's a cost, nothing's free.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
But each individual, it's kind of like Aflac, it's individualized. Each person gets to get notified of what their packet contains or what their ultimate goal is for that.
Yeah,
based off of
absolutely.
their family. But for me, it needs to be explained in detail, because those are some of the things that I'm going to pick up on, is that if I'm going to start out as a 25-year-old with the city and I've already got a family, I think it would be good, but ultimately, long-term, I'm going to look, if I'm going to retire here and I'm not going to contribute as much to my Social Security, then there's a big downfall to that.
Sure, absolutely.
But that needs to be broke down slowly and articulately with each each employee.
Yeah.
Because if it's the caveat is if you're going to be a salesman in it, then it needs to be broken down slowly and not just be sold because we want to get it out there.
Yeah.
And I understand it would save the city money, and there's big benefits to that, but at the same time, you're taking care of the employee, but there's a cost to taking care of the employee.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know a lot of groups that we actually have this product in place for. So the savings that the employee sees, like for example, on that sheet, this employee will save $144 a month. Yes, and so they can utilize that to put into their retirement. They can utilize it to put into an annuity. We have some groups that actually set that up so that they have the option to use their savings to. So again, there's a multitude of ways to do it. But you're exactly right. If you're putting less here, but you're getting it here, what you do with it is completely up to you. And that's something that you have to decide as an individual, and that's exactly why the enrollment process is done individually. Obviously, if we have plenty of, every language you can think of. So don't worry about, enrollment process, not having to be able to communicate that in a way that needs to be communicated. The enrollment team can, and again, phone, text, email, set up a time. So
Does current insurance through the city, do they offer like a doctor on demand type?
it's through Aflac.
Through Aflac.
Just Aflac though?
Yeah, it's through the telephone.
The only thing I compare it to is like Blue Cross Blue Shield has doctor on demand, zero copay, they have all that.
You pay with the teledoc, you pay your copay, which our copay is 25, so you have to pay that. And then you'll see the physician, or talk to the physician. They'll set up your appointment and stuff, but there is a copay versus with this one, you don't have to pay. That claim will not even process through our
Yes, ma'am.
insurance,
Yes,
so.
ma'am. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits. Again, I see multiple benefits in the product, and I've implemented it in groups across the country. I have groups, law firms in Amarillo. The largest accounting firm in Amarillo implemented it last year. July 1 will be their first full year on it. I will tell you, they vetted it for an entire year before they opted in. Obviously, being accountants, they wanted the nuts and bolts. Down to the last detail. So
when you choose to do the program, is there any way to get out? Is it any time? Is it just once you sign up, you sign up? Is it a year?
Yes, so it'll operate off of kind of like your group health plan, that you'll be in it for a year, and then if you want to opt out, you can certainly do that. Now, if it's decided and you want to go ahead and start the implementation process now, so all of that can start for the employees, then we can try to wrap it to October, which is when your benefits renew, your kind of major medical and all of that, and we can kind of try to operate off of that schedule, so we can certainly look into that as well, if that's something that you want to consider, if you consider it, for sure. So,
Mark, just a suggestion that, I think she mentioned it, I think Brandy mentioned it. If there's an option to set up an annuity account for the employees that want to take that into an annuity, we ought to explore that soon.
And that's what we
yeah,
can work together and get that
absolutely.
done.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I know Monica will work closely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shannon.
Yeah, we have a lot of groups that do that. They take the savings and then basically give it back as an option to the employees to utilize into their retirement. Or, we have some groups that actually utilize part of the employer savings and pay more in the medical, or offer to pay for part of the AFLAC, or if they have another supplemental company in place. Or, it's really completely up to you guys how you operate with the savings, or but of course, we're happy to help, if we can set something up to where it's an option for the employees.
Slide it around and try to something that mold and.
Well, you know where I'm coming from on that, so.
Definitely.
So, yes.
I don't want to hurt the employees.
No.
Long-term employees should not.
No. And that's good to bring out, because it is a consideration, that you want employees, and that can be part of the process of informing them, and especially having where, at this age, these are the things that you should consider.
Yes.
And going forward.
Yeah, and buying a home this year, or I think all of those things need to be discussed with each employee. And again, that's why it's not done in a group setting like we do with kind of your major health benefits.
Well, and just like you said, you're part of it as well, right? And the pros and cons, you've benefited from it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That would be an example to the employees, if that's what's offered to them, is that people give the pros and cons to it. There are to it. You can say what you've done,
right.
What somebody else has done, give examples of how it's helped them versus how it's not.
Yes.
And then a breakdown of this. It needs to be, for me, there's such a rush on giving. It's a great benefit, but when I was rushed in, especially like with DPS, they're like, here. And I'm like, no,
Well.
I didn't sign up for half the stuff I needed, and there's stuff
Right.
I needed to sign up. And I know this is just one thing on top of the cake, and it does help out. It's a great benefit. But just like you said, the more questions we ask, I think that needs to be broke down and slowed down for the employee. And if each one wants to base it off that, as far as them just signing up individually, it's a good thing. But then the other backside of that is they can reinvest it or put it back into something that the city's already offering.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because there's going to be a loss on something, but it could be a gain for them on the other end.
Yes. And again, that's kind of the beauty of it, is the flexibility in it, and how it can kind of operate for each individual group and kind of how they choose to do that. But again, that is why the enrollment process is longer than, like, so we come in 2 days and do your medical, dental, vision, all that, and it's pretty quick, but this is such an individualized product that it does have to be discussed with every single employee individually.
And one more, pre-requirements
Yes, sir.
for it? Are there any prerequisites?
No.
Okay.
No, so there's no, we call them knockout questions, health questions. Yeah, there's nothing like that. And again, it's available to everybody. So even if an employee does not take your health insurance here at the city, they still have access to this product. I think the report we ran, so again, because there are financial aspects to this, and everybody's is a little different. Depending on how you file dependents and how you do your taxes, I think there was maybe 4 employees out of the whole city that didn't qualify for the program. And those 4 employees will be notified and discussed as to why, how that works. But yes, even those that don't take the health insurance, this is, again, it's built to ride alongside with what you currently have in place. But even for somebody that maybe couldn't afford the health benefits or doesn't, or whatever their case may be, it would at least provide them with the ability to kind of manage chronic conditions through the telehealth product, have those mental health components, and then the $0 copay kind of run-of-the-mill generic drugs, And even the next tier level up, a $5 copay is pretty good in today's world, I feel like. And again, because you're self-funded, I love this product for self-funded groups more than any other group, because it really can, again, if we can keep the employees healthier and we can run less through the actual medical plan, it's always going to benefit the bottom line, always. So.
What disqualifies an employee from it?
No, there is no disqualifying on this one.
Well, you said 4 didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Medically, there's no disqualifications, but it really depends, because this takes into, and this is what took so long, because we have to run this report that shows each employee. We had to have 2020 W-4, all the dependents, every little tidbit of information that's on your payroll. And I couldn't tell you the calculation that Encompassing Health uses, that I could not speak to, but it's something with the number of dependents you're claiming, and how you are operating that you would not qualify for the plan. Essentially, what happens is you won't see any savings. For whatever reason, whether it's the number of dependents you're claiming or something else, if you don't, as an employee, see a savings, you don't qualify for the plan. So, again, the plan is not meant to harm anyone. It's only meant to benefit. And so if you're not going to see an increase in your take-home pay, then you don't qualify for the plan. And I think
And does it
four.
does it cover the family or just the employee?
It everyone in the household has access to the health and wellness benefits of the plan, yes. Obviously, the employee, we're only looking at the employee's paycheck on that side of things, but the health and wellness benefits, the telehealth, the prescriptions, all of that's open to the entire home. Yeah, so like I said, even if you have a mother-in-law or, you got somebody else that you're taking care of or whatever the case may be, yeah, it's available to the entire household, so.
So is it safe to say that maybe we don't want to take action and then put it on the first meeting in July? They can discuss the annuity and how it would be rolled out to our employees, and then we can make a decision then, and then it would roll 60 days to enroll.
It's usually about
and it would
60.
function alongside our yearly renewal.
Yeah.
I think that's a splendid idea.
Splendid.
Because, even if you wanted to do something, it would sit there, be August 1 or something before this plan could even be implemented. And you'd still have a little time.
That way it rolls all one date, pretty much, if we
You'd
make a
still
decision.
Yeah, we can wrap it to match, the
You
10-1.
have 60 days before you have to renew on the other, and you might be able to see how it works and
Yeah.
how the benefits do, and then you could re-enroll.
Yeah, we could speak to it at the enrollment meetings, how if people have utilized it, that maybe month or two if they've had it in place, or, and see how they're liking it, and yeah, we could do that. Again, it's completely up to you guys, and it, like I said, my job as the broker of your health benefits essentially is to go out into the marketplace and find things that are going to help you guys, that are going to help your employees, that are going to be a benefit to the city and to the employees as a whole. And this is just a product that I've seen tremendous benefit in other groups over the last few years, and so it's something that I wanted to bring to you because I think it could. Obviously the savings to the city is important. I know that's huge, for you guys as a city. But also, I just feel like it definitely fills some gaps for your employees. And I've seen that in other groups as well. And again, it's just my job to bring you the newest and most innovative products that are out there if I feel like it benefits your group of employees. And so that's essentially what I'm doing, so.
Does anybody else have?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, all the information's great.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. And I know the guys that I've already met, they have my contact information, but Monica has my cell phone, email. You can text, call, any questions that you have, we can go as in-depth as you need to. As you're kind of working through what you want to look at, just please feel free to call me or email me, text me, whatever works for you guys. That's what I'm here for, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, thanks, guys.
We'll move right into the item number 10. It's approval of appointing an ex officio for the park board to replace Commissioner Barr.
Good afternoon. I did want to bring forward for your consideration the appointment of an ex officio member to the park board to replace Commissioner Barr. Having a city commissioner serve as an ex officio capacity on the board would strengthen the communication and the collaboration between the board and the commission. It does need to be one of you. Do you have any nominations?
So I would just throw it out. Is there any interest for the park board? I know Tommy has showed interest in being on that ex officio for there.
I've been on there, so I'll withdraw.
So,
If you want, do you want it still?
I'm fine with it. If one of you guys want it, I'm fine with that
Who
too.
else is still leading and helping with it? Do we,
Ricky's the president.
Ricky Casanova's still over it too. Anybody else?
I don't know.
I know him.
The board members?
No, I mean, as far as just who's involved with the park board, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Brandon Cox, Kim Rakoff, Bart Lamberson, Don Trailer, Tony Crawford.
You're better with names than me.
I don't remember everybody, but
I would have only got about 3 of them.
No, I only knew
there's
one.
like 6 or 7 of them. There's quite a bit.
So,
No, if,
well, I
Need a nomination.
would entertain a motion to,
I'll make that motion for Tommy.
okay. We have a motion and a second for Tommy to be the new ex officio for the park board. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Tommy abstaining.
congratulations.
Congratulations. So that will move us into item number 11. Consider approval of appointing a new mayor pro tem to replace my position.
Good
So,
afternoon. I'm here to get you guys to nominate a mayor pro tem to take over Mayor Sims' position. It does need to be one of you. So in the event that he isn't here, you would step in and assume that position in his absence.
and I'll open it up for a nomination for that. I would like to nominate Justin for that because just for the experience and
I'll agree with that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for Justin to be the new mayor pro tem. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And we'll have Justin thing. Thank you. I've got to tell you, I'm gonna be gone quite a bit.
He's like, I'm already going.
He's not gonna make the next meeting. You're gonna.
We'll move into item number 12, consider approval of curb and guttering bid award. Was that?
Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. Hope everybody doing well. This is to concrete curb and gutter, 18th Street. A little bit of background information that 18th Street is the only street dirt road that we have. So we're gonna try to get that curb and gutter and seal coated this summer. So we only had one bid. We only received one bid, and that's for Carvajal Construction. So that's the only one that presented. I will ask the commissioners if you don't mind, go ahead and approve this bid as presented.
And
It's a budget.
Yes. Yeah, it's within the budget. Yes.
meets all the
Yes, it does, yeah. We went over the whole thing, I mean, specs and everything, so it's all.
What's their timeline on getting it done?
Well, if it gets approved, we're planning on starting on the first week of June.
That'll give you time to do the seal coating?
It will, yeah, it will, yeah. That's why.
Are they pre-forming it or using a machine?
There are, Mr. Carvajal's here, so if you have any questions for it.
Would you like to come up,
Yeah, come on.
Tommy? He was asking if, are you pre-forming it, or are you using a machine to lay the,
We're gonna preform it.
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna preform it. Because to do the machine, we're gonna have to use a self-grader. So the city, they're gonna help us to grade everything, and we're gonna preform everything, whatever. I mean, we can go, we're gonna set the forms.
And how long do you think it'll take?
I mean, just as soon as that we take, I mean, we're gonna see how much we need to check in the slopes and all that. But I think they're gonna take, for the most, about a month after everything run, if everything's going, I mean, good, not. But I don't think, maybe probably a little bit less. I'm considering a month of that.
And we have the collision and everything, so as soon as they get done with the curb and gutter, then we're gonna go ahead and start laying the collision, get it prime, and the plan is to start doing seal coating on the 14th of July.
Awesome.
We went working with the county, trying to schedule that. So if we get approved, we're gonna start on the first week of June, so we can get everything done on time.
And that's the whole length of East 18th? That's the whole length connected?
Yeah, that's from South Merritt all the way to South Maddox, about 1,900 feet.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the seal coating, curb and guttering for the 18th Street. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jose.
So we'll move on to item number 13, consider approval of bid awarding for 6 enclosed metal buildings for the water well.
Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. Well, a little bit of background for the new commissioners. I mean, we previously discussed that we have 6 water wells, and we said the SCADA right there, we make a good investment for this SCADA. And we discussed that currently they don't have protection for the weather elements, and they're exposed to the weather. And actually, I mean, we're looking for protect this SCADA, electrical, and well heads and stuff like that. We asking for the enclosure building. And as this is stay right there on the agenda, we have 6, we're looking for 6 buildings. And we only received 1 bid from Cobal. And I don't know, I mean, appreciate Commissioner Willis, he helps me a lot with this inputs. He have a lot of inputs on this. And it's up to y'all what y'all wanna do. I mean, I know we need these SCADA buildings, but I know
These came out a lot more expensive than what I considered them. And I'm just wondering, I just throw out a proposal that maybe we could buy the buildings, have bid out the concrete, the footings and whatever concrete we need, because I'm not sure we need to replace all the concrete around those wells, buy the building and possibly use some of our labor, in-house labor on over the winter, and maybe put as many of these buildings as we possibly could. It would save us quite a bit of money.
Whatever y'all want.
To me, it looks like a lot more building than what I originally had pictured in my head.
Well, we really, from the original deal, it was like a 10
by 12, something like that. They say fit longer.
and we added it so we could make sure we got everything enclosed and covered the wells and didn't have the freezing problem.
Yes.
But that would be an idea I would like to throw out and see.
Yes.
Rather than try to spend nearly $50,000 per well.
How much damage you incur in winter with our wells? Is it pretty significant on the winter damage, or?
You know, like say we just barely did a big investment on the SCADA.
Okay.
We use, electrical signals, stuff like that. But yes, the last year, I mean, we had to work on actually, about 3 wells. Because even if you put the insulated or the heat cores and all that, heat cores, I mean, sometimes they work well, but it's a lot of water. It's a big pipes for the heater core, so definitely we knew we need the enclosure building, but I guess, the way to make those one, it's up to y'all. This is, even, Crubel, they did some kind of like a bit addendum, rather, but it's still, I know, I understand, so whatever y'all decided is good. But in the back, this, some.
I would certainly like the opportunity to try to put some kind of a proposal together, to do a labor in-house and try to save some of this cost.
So since we went out to bid, and then So at this point, can we, like with what the mayor's talking about, go back to them and say, because they say in their rebuttal that they're open to the city buying the buildings and stuff like that.
I mean, you just,
Or not negotiate at all, and then we put it out, back out to bid for like the third time.
yeah, it would just, I mean, you just reject this bid, because it's the only one, and you would just, because it's, you're changing it so much, you would just have to go out, unless, again, unless the new work scope, you know, is gonna be assuredly so much less than the threshold amount that you're not gonna have to worry about it. But if it's close, obviously you always want to put it out for bid.
It's just, yeah, I agree. I'm not saying that, but
I mean, even
the last two
with
experiences I've had, I'm just saying with building, and this issue is with concrete, this is double the price on what I've seen locally as far as residential and some commercial. And that's just helping out with families and stuff and friends, but $50,000 a building with concrete. I mean, I've seen average 25 and 30 on some of these city and commercial residents. I think we could do something that way. I don't know how much manpower an hour we have to do in-house, but we could do a minimum amount regardless and then still.
So are we, and get a sense, would we take, we'll just say the contractor's position and then sub out the building and erection, sub out the concrete? You know, do you want us to take that position and we can put out, you know, the concrete specs? We can put out, you know, what we can and can't do. Of course, that's gonna take some genius.
How far?
But I was just, you know, like say, it's possible if we'll just say we took the contractor and we broke the project apart, those who specialize in, you know, the footings and this stuff, and then this, and of course, there might be the contractor, but that goes back, I think what you mentioned, this was a turnkey that what he was given. So you want to sit there and go, well, but I think if there is a direction that you'd like us to go, we can, like I said, we can piece it, to sit there and go, and we could go back and talk to, is if we buy the buildings, you know, ourselves and take that savings, basically they're doing erection and the flat work and that stuff. So we could approach them back there first and sit there and say, you're willing to talk, you know, we would purchase direct, and that would probably require us coming back if we took that purchase, if we took it direct, is.
in their bid, they have a labor-only option. It's only reducing it per building $5,700.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, that's.
Okay.
And, how far are our bids going out? How do we put the bids
They
out?
say,
That is, ours is basically, we have a requirement, you know, to at least post into the city's dedicated newspaper. You know, that is always going to be a question, and I think that's what we've asked ourselves is that, and it's actually, Texas does state that it is one of those that when you put out an RFP, if the bidders don't see the RFP, then do you notify and say, look for this RFP? And if you're doing that, do you show favoritism by doing that? It's kind of always that tug of war, but, you know, ours goes out, like I said, is you hopefully, you know, that all that's interested do it. And, you know, I don't know, and then cost-wise and this stuff is, you know, you have your local media requirement, but, you know, if that is something that, you know.
But we're only pushing out our bids to local. I mean,
It is.
I know it's a benefit to our local businesses, but sometimes the total overall cost is to go a little bit further.
And that
and
might
save
be
money.
something that, that you include, that you wanna, is it the Globe?
I'm not saying that, but I know some of I'm not trying to be mean, but
Yeah.
some of our contractors know when we only reach out local,
Mhm.
they're gonna be the only bids, and they're gonna put what they want is the cost.
Yeah.
And as we outreach that and push just a little bit further, we have some competition, but some of that competition will give us a discount, especially for something like this. And I'm not saying a discount, but
Yeah.
that's because of their size or their quality. I wanna give local work, but when we're trying to save money, we have to go outside a little bit further.
I think it's easy enough to sit there and include, just where we send the RFP. Of course, we have, our local newspaper requirement. Thank you. It is one of those, but if you wanted to include that, that is just a media. There will be a cost, but
Yeah.
I think.
And I wanna help them too, but
Yeah, I think that can easily be
working
done.
on those wells
They told
is,
me, because, like I said, Commissioner Willis, we're working together on this project, and like I said, I appreciate his inputs. And he said, well, ask him and see if they can go a little bit lower and all that. So I would talk to them, and they say, if we have those buildings 4 or 5 months ago, it was a different price, but the metal, he say, it's incredible, crazy. And he's saying, we don't expect the metal went down. So maybe next year, that's what they told me it's gonna be.
So we can't, just the history, so the first time it went out, staff just called people.
yeah, oh, yeah.
There was 2 bids, right, then?
Right.
And then we changed something, then it came back, it was awarded. 2 months went by, they issued a letter back to the city saying, due to workload, employee situation, we can't do the work. Which it should have went out to bid like this originally, not phone calls.
Yeah.
So then this gets pushed out. The 2 first bidders didn't even do it. That's what happened. You start pushing it, less and less people will bid.
Yeah.
And this size of thing, it's hard. Somebody's not gonna necessarily travel for these size of buildings and stuff, like to what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying though too, is that just the opinion and experience, is that I've got 6 local bids on a private project that I did, and it was twice the cost for me to go to a company out of Tyler, Texas and get them to come here for 3 days, and it was half the cost. The exact same product, the exact same concrete specifications, the exact with warranty and wind, and it, my mind, and I might be wrong, I'm just saying what I believe, but this would be the first official push out for a bid besides doing the phone calls and trying to get somebody. I want to help them and make their job easier, but if we can save the money and some were out, it just seems a little steep for $50,000 for concrete in the buildings, which were.
And like I said, there's a bit of dandruff right there. They say that's the best they can do for us.
Yeah.
We was discussed, me and Mr. Willis, that's.
It might be, like I said, first, to sit there and have media to send, this is our RFP, and this, and how much would it cost, and blah, blah, that, and post it, meeting that requirement. Everything's done electronically, so in other words, when we put it out local, we can put it out somewhere else. If you'd like us to do that, we would more than happy to. And we can see if there is there, more results. But we meet that minimum requirement of sitting there going, this is, our chosen newspaper. And yes, we will do that, but like I said, I think it's more of a easy try. We can see if we get more responses. And some mobilization and that stuff, it might be not feasible, but we can always see.
So I guess my proposal is to reject this bid, and then we would just look at other options.
See if we can, like I said.
Rebid it out.
Yeah.
And we could, but like I said, we can look at what we can do, but then is put that out. I think that being fair, is this is the concrete work and this stuff. And usually, you know, we're gonna need some kind of, if we take the contractors, for additional little cost, but if we took the buildings, you know, we're gonna have to have an engineered stamp plan. You know, something that fits with the building, and I think we can obtain that, and then go from there, you know, on, you know, buildings, you know, that this is the metal shipped to FOB.
Well, the only thing I'm gonna warn about is you start piecemealing it. If there becomes an issue, everybody's gonna be pointing a finger. It's so-and-so's fault. It's so-and-so.
Oh,
So you
no,
might as
no,
well throw a warranty out the window.
Yeah, I
'cause
don't want to
nobody's gonna
separate
warranty
either.
that stuff.
I'd like it
Yeah.
one group try to do it. I mean, that would be the best overall.
But we'd be glad to do whatever you'd like us to do, and we'll live and learn.
Well, I'll make a motion that we reject this bid and then look at going out for other bids or rebidding it.
All right, we'll do it.
I guess I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reject this bid on the metal buildings for the water wells. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I mean, I'm just asking, do we need a building that stout? Would a pole barn type building not work?
At the beginning, we was thinking on a 4x4 pipe, but then the high winds and, you know, if we gonna, we invest a good money over there in water wells, and, me and Mr. Patson, we went and looked at it, the measurements and all that, and, they just barely fit. It's just a couple of fit on the side and this and that, so, and like I said, Mr. Willis and I, we were working on that, and that's what the concrete needs to be, and, you know, the rebar and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are all normal specs that you would.
And the building, I mean, you can see the building, it's a good building, and understand, I mean, we understand that the price. I'm not sure if we can go cheaper, maybe if we do it on home, but like I say, I mean, who's gonna do it?
There's a possibility that we could go, just with the winds we have and, you know, because those have no protection whatsoever.
Like you see, I mean, the specs, how the building is designed, I mean, it's amazing, really. I mean, you can see, I mean, even to take the water head out, they have to do a latch right there on the top, and also, I mean, some kind of like a roll-up door, you know, they look at it and all that, to pull the pipe and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty good design to me, but it is, I don't understand. So whatever y'all decided, or y'all decide, I mean, we'll do it.
But we'll look at something and a different proposal and bring it back. All right, let's move on to item number 14. Consider proposals for directions on how to proceed for the lack of bid for the 14-inch and 16-inch inserted valves.
Yes, unfortunately, I mean, we ain't got no bids right here, and I think, I mean, as I'm gonna stay right there on the, I mean, maybe if we go further than the city, because we just published this right here on the city area, I mean, on the city of Dumas area, and
for a history behind this is at Texoma Park, you know, where the water well is there. We also have a tank there. These valves would be put on each side to isolate that tank so we can repair that tank and do maintenance on it, is the reason these valves are even considered, you know, so.
this is one of the, we're working on the water project, and maybe we can go different way or something, but refurbish the Texoma water tank, which new one, the metal, the cost of the metal, I mean, we hear about it's about 2-3 millions just to build a tank. And if we can refurbish this one, I mean, for, I don't know, $200,000, paint it and all that.
And also our engineer we visited with our engineer yesterday morning, and they're also working on this project, you know, the refurbishing the tanks, refurbishing the wells, and you know, and deciding if we exactly need these valves, you know, and where we need them. So I think it'd be just, to hold off on this. With no bids, we really can't do any action anyway. So, we can,
I would say rebid it after you get your report back from the engineer.
that's what, just have to look at it and see. Like I said, we may have to continue to reach out a little further.
Yes.
So, okay, on item number 15, consider approval of bid awarding to water well clean, bail, and test projects.
Well, I'll do my best. It is one of those, Mayor and Commissioners, for your consideration. We went and ascertained RFP first published 4/25/2025. It was due May 9th. It is one of those, and there is now understanding different processes to clean, bail, and test. It is one of those, I think, after analyzing, there was in we received 2 bids back for this process, but there is a tsunami method, there's a mechanical method, and there's a pressurized method. After doing some conversations with providers of this service, it was the pressurized method was for the city's standpoint was the best method to go with. So looking at that, we received from the hydro, we received the responses with 5 separate proposals, 1 for each well, and that was the pressurized method in $85,020. We went out we received at our well service, and it had basically 3 variations. And what they did, if you look in your packet, the supporting document, is those 3 are times 5, and that's explained it. So if what the pressurized method is 5 times total $75,060.25, and that would be incomparable to the pressurized method from hydro, which was $85,020. It is one of those. They also contain the mechanical method. So what you see is in their bid times 5 is $57,560. It is one of those. They also, the tsunami method, which is $62,560. It is one of those that the pressurized method was chosen to be the best what we have, looking at the conditions of the well, giving us a result. And in fact, Mayor Sims and staff yesterday, we met with engineering in Amarillo to discuss the future water and steps that we can take. It include a financial discussion, but it is one of those, what you have before you is key to moving forward and finding out where we're at and how we move. So it is one of those, that is the analysis, is what is the best for our conditions of the well, and that is to use the pressurized method. So it is for your consideration. It is one of those that staff recommends pressurized water well treatment by Eder water well in the amount of $75,060.25 for the 5 city water wells. And it is one of those, the documents are attached, but I would entertain any questions of the commission. I'll do my best. I might have to have some assistance, but I'll do my best to explain.
Well, I can just give you a history on this. We were looking at refurbishing some wells that have been capped and non-used. And we started out with 8 wells. We cameraed them, had a company come in, Hydro come in, and they cameraed the wells. And we found out there were wells that are dry, there were wells that were just 60 foot of water, not a lot of water, and maybe some 10 foot of water. So we took those out, we brought it down to 5 wells. Is what we did that we thought would be good. There's 2 out by the golf course, and there's 2 on 8th Street back north, and then there's 1 at Texoma Park. And those are the 5 wells that we want to come back and look at. They look like they've got quite a bit of water in the wells. They look good. The casing is very grown over, whatever you call it, because they haven't been pumped in a long time. They need to be cleaned, and they have to be baled and chlorinated, and then and the bids all show that we'll camera them after we clean and bale them, to see exactly what we have, and then they'll put a test pump in there and test pump them for at least 12 hours and just get an idea of how much they're going to pump. And then we can decide if we want to refurbish them and put the pumps in them and hook them up to the system or start using them, is what the idea is here. And I believe the pressure is going to be the best, and Mike is here with Hydro, and he can probably tell you more about it than
the Edward Waterwell guys.
I can.
Yeah, if y'all have any questions, about that method?
But he talks like that they've done thousands and thousands of wells with this pressurized.
We've had some really good success on.
And the concern with me was the casings haven't been wet for a long time, so they may be a little brittle, and the pressure may take the casing, give us problems, but I don't know.
It is a risk. It's more aggressive than brushing or the tsunami. Like I was telling Pat, we've done probably a little over 1,000 wells, and I think we've lost about 20 wells. But I think those wells were already, they're about to go anyway. So, but when we videoed these wells to begin with, the casing looks like it's in pretty good shape. I think it can handle a cleaning. It needs to be cleaned. They're really grown up. So.
But we have videos of the entire casing on all these wells.
Is 18 one of those?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on there.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 or 3 questions, and I'm
Go
not going to
ahead.
league or
Go
anything.
right ahead.
So from a well service company standpoint, no need to acidize this?
Well, the acid treatments the acid treatments will cost a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that we've done some for Phillips, and you got to try to isolate that acid where you want it.
Right.
Because the acid's going to tend to go to the cleanest part of the hole. Like if you just dump it in there, it'll just go.
Right.
And so we try to get it where we want it, and then surge it right there, and then hold it in so it can do its work.
Right.
And those cleaning jobs cost a lot more.
Okay. Right. You don't see that we need to do that?
The success rate, we didn't have a lot of success with those.
Okay. Fair enough.
Really, the acid, we did some for Phillips 66. Those treatments cost 60 grand, and I don't know that we even improved the wells.
Okay.
The power washing, we've improved a lot of wells. We've helped a bunch, because we've, just blast the stuff out of the perforations, so we can get to all the perforations. The acid kind of goes where it wants to go, the least resistance, and so it's cheaper, a lot cheaper than acid.
Pat, general questions. How many total water wells do we have?
Well, right now, we're using, 5, 6, 7,
The ones are
8.
working right now. We have 3 on Morgan. We call it the more tank. 3 of those. 5 on the Harley, and 1 right by the golf course. 2 on the golf course that they are working right now. But we just, working on the water rights, and we got a total of 25 wells that we working on. Some of those are already closed, or, they not worth it.
Okay, so this is an additional 5 that we're looking at
They will be put back in
servicing.
production.
Okay.
Right.
So that'll put us
All
at
right.
15.
Do we have a historical production rate, static water levels, drawdown levels on all of our wells?
That's been the big question, but that's what we are trying to discover. There has been wells, and help me out here, it is one of those that our history and actually the capability of our system, what we're trying to do is determine it now. With some of this, and the cleaning, from my understanding from yesterday, is what is gonna be a good well for us. We do have a lot of wells. We do have some capped. We do have some that we are going to possibly, and that's what the consideration is if we have to redrill. And that could be, expensive. So we're trying to, and I think that's a good question. Since February, we'll just say February, we've been leaning forward with the idea of what is the capability of our system. And we really couldn't tell you. And what we're finding out yesterday, there was some outside thinking, not only what we're doing at present, but then the future. So we don't want to move that chess piece and then go, well, we should have done it this way. So it is one of those, simple answer is, that is what we're trying to do, is find out the capability of the system, and as we're going along, what is this actually gonna cost? And so we're moving to that, and I hope that was the long answer, but I wish I could say.
There is no Excel spreadsheet anywhere that everybody that has all of those columns on it.
Yeah, that's
I
the,
sent to you, I have the spreadsheet, you mean the ones that are working right now?
Yes.
Yes, I sent to you, I have, every single one, how many?
Perfect.
You have that one too?
Yeah, I do.
yeah, and those are metered, those are metered for the state and that, but on this new and what we're seeking out, it's trying to see if it's even feasible to use.
There's no history of why it was capped, why was it pulled out of
That's my
service.
very next question. Why
Other
were these all
than maybe
capped?
when all that was built, it was like, well, we're just going to the new place.
Okay.
Now we're gonna into use of these for.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to figure
Well,
out.
and my assumption is that we drilled a well over here that pumps 1,000. Well, we've got one over here that's only pumping 600. So we're gonna cap that and run it out. That's the only assumption that I can come up with. I don't know if that's true.
There's
or
no
not.
data, nobody that knows the
No.
answers.
In the end, we should have all of that data for future generations.
Yeah, and that's it. We're feeling around in the dark for the light switch, and we can't find it yet.
You wanna come up? Do you have
Reese, you have a
any
comment?
input on that? Because you've been with
Historically,
this.
back, if it goes back to the question, back in the 60s and 70s, if you didn't have a well that produced at least 1,000 a minute, you moved on. Well, now we're at the stage in aquifer where 150 gallons a minute's not a bad well, you just need 20 of them.
Right.
It's basically my experience in this.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I mean, any little bit we can get
just trying to
and
expand.
use the system and the easements that we already have, instead of going out, hey, we need the easements here. Price always goes up when somebody's trying to buy easements. The infrastructure's there for what we have at the moment. I'm thinking we can pull that in and then look further out in the future to get more water in, because it's not sustainable.
Agree. In
But
the
that
end,
is-
the spreadsheet would be good.
Yeah,
To
and
help
we'll
with
get
that
that in
strategy.
existing, but a lot of this is we're actually trying to discover what potentially is out there and what we've got to do.
And I had a lot of
to
the
meet
well logs, but at this time, I haven't had a chance to try and find them.
You bring up a good point, Reese. The other option is to go to North Plains Water District and see what data they have and gather what you can.
Actually, sir, I'm working with it, and we're gonna have a record for every single well, 25 on the whole city. I've been working on it, and every single well, and some of those wells are right here. We already know, Mayor, we're working on it, but some of those, probably pretty soon, already working, which one we're gonna open and which one we're gonna close, I mean, completely close, not cap it.
Plug.
Which ones are, yes, plug. I mean, you know, so we're working on it, and that way, I mean, also we have videos on so many wells, so we're gonna have a records right here. It takes time, just the water rights and all that stuff, just to looking on this, I mean, they say probably 3 months.
Is that all Guadalajara or Santa Rosa or Docal?
Every single one.
Aquifers.
I mean, yes, well, it's gonna be involved. All the wells that we got, why they get.
We don't have any in the
Like
dock right
example,
now.
we have a lot of wells that are already plugged, and nobody knows about it, not even the district. So we're gonna make sure, I mean, they know they got the right information for every single well, even if it's old, or even if it's the newest one, including these ones right here on the new addition, we're working on it.
But to answer your question, we've been working with the water district. Right now, we are trying to figure out all our water rights. I have Shane Turner right now that's over at PAL Abstract, and he's researching to find out every water right we have, so we know what we can pump and what we can't. We've been working with the water district to open these wells, because a lot of them are active that we're looking at. We can just get them re-permitted and go back to pumping them. You know, so it's gonna be dealing with TCQ to make sure they're in compliance, as municipal wells. So those are, and that's why we've kind of gone with the engineer, because they're gonna do a lot of that, take a lot of that for us.
Good.
So on that, but you're right, we need all the logs and all that, so. But right now, we have 2
Is
wells.
there an issue with 18? He was asking about
Well,
it.
back when I was here before I had it cameraed, and there was probably a 50-cent piece or a quarter-size hole in the casing about. I mean, I've slept since then, but I'm saying between 300 and 400 foot in that well casing.
I'll check every single video, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a mistaken or something. I think, well, I mean, we see that, what you're talking about.
I was talking to him, it was tuberculated, just sitting there freeboard, you got the humidity eating on that pipe the whole time and building tuberculation in a pipe. If you cleaned it, I'm sure you'd find it, but anytime you clean a well, you have to let it sit, a week or better before you can even get a clear image.
Well, on the after videos, we already got a video of them, so I would recommend, and for Dustin too, after you clean them and test pump them, if everything's good, well, you could probably take that video out and save a little bit of money there. So, honestly, there's not much point in videoing, I guess.
After it's bailed and scrubbed?
Yeah, after you test pump it and you're not pumping sand, you got a good test pump, then that's just more money you're spending, that's just my opinion, but that would be on Dustin's bid too, he could take that off too.
Right.
But I think you could lower.
What's the cost of video, about 600, 700?
1,200.
Yeah.
1,200, it's gone up since I.
On the whole camera survey, 15.
In my mind, it's good insurance.
I'm sorry?
I said, in my mind, it's good insurance. Before you even put a $50,000 pump down there, whether it be submersible or
That
hollow
way we'll
shaft.
look at it, how it's gonna
You
be
have
the
to wait
condition of
for a
the
little
casing.
while.
after
Yeah,
that.
you have to wait for it to clear up, but we still don't have the infrastructure tied in like we talked about in the engineer.
Oh, yeah.
Phase. I mean, it's not gonna happen in the next 6 months, realistically.
I know. We're just, basically, we're trying to get water back in the system as quickly as possible. If you're looking at drilling, you're looking at.
Even longer and more money.
When you have the water. No. But, that's kind of the history behind what we've been
Thank you
looking
for
at.
the discussion.
And we're also looking at refurbishing
Thank you, Reese.
some tanks and just trying to refurbish the whole system. You know.
So the staff's recommendation is go with Eder Water Well, the pressurized method, for a total of 75,060.25.
Of the 2 bids, there was an 85 from one bid and there's 75 from the other bid, at the pressurized method.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to go with Eder Water Well for the $75,060.25 to clean bale and test pump the water wells, the 5 water wells we have listed. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to item number 16, consider approval of allowing the golf course to go over their budget line.
So ultimately, we approved the golf course for original purchase of batteries, which was around $7,000. However, it appears that the wrong ones were ordered, and Renee tried to be able to get to return them. They won't let us return them. So now the golf course needs to order the correct batteries, which is, of course, an additional amount of $11,000, which would, in that line item that we are currently using, would put us in a deficit of $6,153.
So can we resell those batteries?
That is a good question. Of course, none of the guys are here. Do you happen to know, Tom? No?
I mean,
I don't think
know.
the city can sell them.
there's 6-volt batteries for 36-volt card. I mean, those are kind of dying out right now. If you can find somebody, yeah, you could probably sell them, but as far as getting rid of all 60 of them at once, it's probably gonna be kind of tough.
Right.
I don't know anybody that runs a fleet of 36-volt cards
Right.
anymore.
We can't legally sell them, we have to auction them, correct?
Well, your surplus property, it just depends. If you have a policy, which I don't, you guys have a policy for?
I think so.
Sure they do.
So then it's just really any commercially reasonable method, right? So I mean, you can do that. You can certainly, yes, put them out and accept bids but you could also, as long as you're advertising them and put them out as far, that you've got some options to try to sell them.
Yeah, I don't mean like, let's just go say, one way or another, get our money back. We gotta order the right ones, but one way or another, can we recoup our funds?
Yeah, try to.
Are we ordering from a different vendor?
Same one, just because they're different size of batteries.
So we're
increase.
ordering from the same vendor that won't accept our batteries that we
Let me
ordered
double check
from
and
them.
make sure that that vendor is the same. Yep, it was the same.
So we're gonna buy from them, but then they won't return our batteries.
Right.
Why? That's like the big question. Have we used this vendor before? Is it a first vendor? I mean, I think if they're not here to answer the questions, then.
We can. We'll go ahead and give a call. It is.
Well, and then we're still doing the.
Is treated separately, and so it is one of those that since we contract, we'll have more of an explanation.
We're still going through that same vendor. We're offering them more money.
We're giving them another $11,000.
I know, so, and they could take that back as a courtesy if we've dealt with them before, even though, like he was saying, it's a dying battery for those cars. Then they can take the loss, but we're still keeping business with them, because if they're not gonna take the batteries back this time, then we can go through a second vendor the second time and order different batteries to take care of us. And that's the direct answer. It
Right.
just seems like kind of a pain that they're not willing to work with us on taking them back after we're spending the money.
Especially that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, we're spending $11,000 and all they're having to do is take this. They're still making a gain. They're just gonna have to sell those batteries, which they sold them to us apparently, so.
Yeah.
We'll call the golf course.
Okay.
Is there somewhere else in his budget that money could come from, where your bottom line is in the black?
The bad thing is that we're just starting
Yeah.
spending his budget because this is kind of his busy time of year. So if I was to say right now, yes, he has plenty of money to spend for his budget, but he's barely started.
Is there any capital in there that we could?
Last year, we didn't put any capital in anybody's budget last year
Okay.
for this fiscal year.
So no new toys that he was wanting to buy?
Well, there was plenty that he was wanting to buy.
They got put in the budget?
Yeah, no.
Well, and I would go back to your question. You know, I'm not really thrilled with giving them $12,000 more.
I agree.
You know, I would think we need to look for another vendor and see what we can.
Or that's the deal.
I mean,
We'll
they're
buy these
just,
batteries.
they're up in Kansas City, so I'm guessing, that's what I was trying to figure out. Is there a deal on their deal that says no returns?
Yeah.
They're a big wholesale company,
Yeah.
and you're getting a discount because you're buying at this rate. They generally won't take a return. Doesn't matter who you are.
We
But
can.
But then at the same concept, it's just a business practice, and then I agree with Willis on that, is that we're returning customers. Can you afford us this option to return these batteries? I mean, and if they don't, then that's the deal breaker on it, but, yeah.
That's kind of the way.
Notify them, notify them, and, hey, we need to see what we can do. And that is, and I think you know the situation, there's a contract situation.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So it is one of those, we can always, and we've run into this, we need some more information, go at it this way.
I don't even have an issue paying the freight to send them other ones back.
Yeah, we can pay for the freight to send them back. That would be just a loss, but it'd be a cheap loss. But if they did, there's gotta be some way, maybe some fashion, and if not, then.
We'll find that out.
I will make the motion to allow him to go over his line item, but with a different vendor if they won't work with you.
Not to exceed what?
12,000.
As a new battery order?
If he comes back with something more than 12,000, he can come talk to us, but
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go ahead and allow the golf course to go over their budget with the exception of using a different vendor to purchase these batteries. Not to exceed 12,000. All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. We will move on to, does any of the staff have anything they would like to bring up? We'll move right into the city managers.
Mayor, commissioners, just want to thank staff. School year's ending and we're getting into the busy season, a lot of events coming up. But we're leaning forward and getting things accomplished. Pool looks good as far as going forward. We're having events and this, and you know, there's going to be a Marlin event, you know, a week down the road after this coming holiday weekend. So it is one of those, I appreciate it. We're trying to do things that this summer will go into, and then our busy season will be in the wintertime. We'll do preventative stuff and that way in spring we're not trying to play catch up. So with that, I'll also offer, we'll set up some time with the commission. We'll follow the guidelines of the Open Meetings Act, but we'll give you a tour of everything that we've got. Kind of introduce you, of course, to, you know, staff like that, but there's a lot to see, and we do a lot. But there's a lot of things as we go forward to the commission that I think we'll explain, and that is assessing all our utilities, where we're at, what we're doing in the future, and an idea of what those costs will be. A lot of times we're in a situation, and it's kind of the water system that things that should have been started way back tends to get kicked down the road. You know, kick that can and keep kicking it, and then somebody's got to pick it up, and guess what? You're the commission that's got to pick it up. So we'll start that, we'll figure out ways, and there's things that we discussed with the engineers. There is alternative funding sources that the city has not utilized. It is a process, but also the engineering firm offered that assistance to help make that happen. And it is a lower interest rate in the longer term. So we're looking at everything. We're also getting ready, and I'll be working with the commission. We'll give you a schedule of our budget process Staff will get it first, then we'll review, then it'll go to the commission, and then it'll be going to approval. So there's some things changing in that, and I'll discuss that with the city commission, but these things are all getting ready. We're getting ready to go into that budget time of year and see where we're at. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer those. Okay.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have anything? Tommy?
I may should have brought this up to staff, but we are still working on the sirens. Omega came in last week.
Yeah, I think that was.
Checked them out. We've got 3 that's not working that should be working. It was determined they're not working because the backup batteries are bad. And for whatever reason, they designed these sirens where if the batteries go bad, they still will not work on AC power.
Oh my gosh.
Makes no sense to me. So we do have batteries ordered to replace.
Did you wear the right ones?
Yes, I
Have some
did.
golf cart ones.
Can we return them?
We got some ourselves. Do they happen to be a 6-volt battery?
Send them back.
No, they're not. They're 12 volt. It's kind of like what you put in your boat or your RV.
Simple. Oh, that's good.
We do have batteries ordered to replace everything that's battery backup because it's been a number of years since they have been replaced. So hopefully that'll get them 3 up and going. The parts that we ordered to get everything on one system to where all of them work still have not arrived. So I don't know if they're hung up in port, getting here from China, electronics. So as soon as I get here, he'll be up here to put them in.
So how many do we have working?
12, 15?
We did, brought that 6 on, and it is, the system, and I think all of us will agree, it's the time of year where we really need them. And I guess what happened last night, northeast of us, you just never know with these things, so it's been a move, we're just waiting on time. So, but that's something we'll get done.
All right, Justin?
All good.
Okay. Well, right now, we will, and I don't have anything, we're still working on the water system, and we're gonna continue on that. But right now, we'll retire into executive session.
Can you put this in?
It's 1:22. I'm sorry.